Welcome back to the deep dive. This is where we take the sources you send our way, articles, maybe some research, notes, that kind of thing. And we really try to pull out the key insights, the stuff you need to know. Think of it as your shortcut to getting properly informed. We often stumble onto some surprising connections, too. Today, though, we're looking at something, well, deeply tragic, a very recent event. The plane crash in Ahmedabad, Gujarat, India on June 12th, 2025, it really shook the nation. It's just a stark reminder, isn't it, how a normal day can just shatter.
Absolutely. And for this deep dive, the sources we're working from are mainly the immediate reports, the facts as they came out, the coverage that was everywhere in late June 2025. So our goal isn't just to list what happened. It's more about piecing together these initial accounts to try and understand not just the what, but the questions this whole thing raises, the early insights from the raw information we have so far.
Exactly. So what can you expect us to unpack today? We'll piece together the timeline as best we know it right now. We'll definitely talk about the immediate human impact, which is profound. Then look at the initial findings coming out of the investigation, and also the bigger conversations that this tragedy has sparked. It's heartbreaking, yes, but there's also a story of resilience in there, too. Let's get into it.
Okay, let's start with that timeline, June 12th. What we've gathered is this was a chartered flight, a medical evacuation flight. It took off from Ahmedabad's main airport, Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel International, at 1:28 in the afternoon, heading elsewhere. But just 14 minutes later?
Only 14 minutes at 1:42 p.m. That's when the aircraft just nosedived straight into the BJ Medical College Boys Hostel.
Right into the hostel. The impact must have been instantaneous. Reports mentioned flames, debris.
Yes, immediate and catastrophic, scattered over a pretty wide area, too. And the final count, the toll, it stands at 15 lives lost.
15. That's 6 people who were actually on the plane? Correct. The crew and any medical personnel or patients. And then 9 students.
9 students in the hostel. Just awful.
So naturally, after the initial shock, the immediate question was why? How could this happen?
Right. The investigation.
Yeah.
What are the first indications?
Well, the initial findings are pointing pretty strongly towards engine failure, mid-flight engine failure.
Engine failure. And they tried an emergency landing.
It seems so. A desperate attempt, but obviously it failed. And something really chilling that's come out from the recovered data, the pilot's last radio call.
Oh, what was it?
The unofficial transcription is something like, "Mayday, mayday, we're losing altitude." They just didn't make it back.
Wow. 14 minutes.
Yeah. And the investigation itself, it actually moved very quickly. They found the black box, the copy of voice recorder, by the next day, June 13th.
Less than 24 hours. That's fast.
It is. And now investigators are really digging deep into the flight data logs, the maintenance records, all of that, which brings up a critical point here. The aircraft itself, it was an older model, a twin-engine turboprop. And here's the thing. It had passed a routine inspection just 2 months before the crash.
2 months, so it had been cleared recently.
Exactly. And that detail, it's not just a footnote. It really highlights this tension in aviation safety,
Yeah.
how routine checks on older planes might not always catch everything, latent issues or things that develop quickly.
So it raises questions about how we maintain older aircraft versus newer ones.
Precisely.
Hmm.
Are the standard protocols enough for aging fleets? What might get missed? It forces a deeper look at those maintenance philosophies.
Okay, so that's the technical side, the investigation. But the human side of this, it's immense.
Absolutely devastating.
But amidst all that wreckage and loss, there was, incredibly, one survivor from the hostel.
That's right. A young man, a 22-year-old student, Siddharth Mehta,
Pulled from the rubble, but badly injured.
very badly. Reports say 70% burns. He's in critical condition at Civil Hospital Ahmedabad.
Oh, terrible. Is he getting support?
Yes, the state government stepped in immediately. They're fully sponsoring his medical treatment.
That's something, at least. And the wider community.
The reaction was immediate. Across Gujarat, you saw prayers, candle marches,
Good job.
just this outpouring of grief.
And at the college itself, BJ Medical College.
Understandably, they're reeling. They declared 7 days of mourning, classes suspended indefinitely. The impact on that community is just huge.
You can only imagine. It really shows that sense of solidarity and grief, doesn't it?
It does. And the official response also included compensation measures pretty quickly. The government of Gujarat and the Union Civil Aviation Ministry announced packages.
What did that involve?
It's quite specific.
Yep.
25 lakh rupees for the family of each student who died,
Yeah, yeah.
one drawer for the pilot's family, and 20 like each for the families of the medical staff who were on board the plane.
Okay, so immediate financial support for the families.
Yes, but beyond those immediate necessary steps, this whole incident has, well, it's kicked off some vital national conversations again.
Like what? Aviation safety, I assume?
Definitely aviation safety, not just the mechanics, but as we touched on, the specifics around older aircraft, pilot training for emergencies, the whole system gets scrutinized again. And also urban planning.
Urban planning. How so?
No, think about it. A plane crashing into a densely populated student hostel right near an airport. It brings up difficult questions about how close development should be allowed near flight paths, that constant tension between city growth and safety zones.
Right. That makes sense. Tragic hindsight, I suppose.
And there's one more crucial area: mental health support.
For the students, the families.
Exactly. For student communities dealing with this kind of collective trauma, for the affected families, for the first responders even, the need for robust, accessible mental health systems becomes incredibly clear in moments like this.
So, as we kind of wrap up this deep dive on the Ahmedabad crash of June 12th, 2025, it's obviously a story of immense loss, a stark reminder of vulnerability, but maybe, just maybe, it's also, as you said, about resilience.
I think that's an important part of it. The source material we looked at, it ended with this thought: while planes may fall, people rise. It captures that spirit, I think.
People rise. It makes
Yeah.
you think, doesn't it? As you reflect on this, maybe consider what lasting lessons might actually come from such terrible loss. Will there be real changes, systemic changes in aviation safety or urban development? And just how do communities find the strength? How do they rally together after something like this to support each other and eventually begin to heal? It's a long road. It's something to really mull over.